All right, everyone, welcome back to the Road Less Travel podcast. And yeah, I know I've been out for a while, but figured new year, go ahead and start it back up and try to keep it on track this time. So basically where I left off is, of course I had crazy upbringing and pardon the signals, I'm in the car. Had a rough upbringing, and so I joined the Coast Guard, and that's the first time that folks started accepting me for who I really am. So that was a blessing, right? And so after you go to boot camp, after I joined the Coast Guard, I went to boot camp. So this episode is going to be about just boot camp and what it's briefly about. So yeah, when you go to boot camp, it's a fairly unique process. You have thousands and thousands of people coming all together from different walks of life, different religions, different cultures, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. Not everybody has English as their first language. All these different things, right? And you got all these people coming in this one place. And they basically got 8 weeks to make them uniform, to where everybody is basically starting to look the same as far as when it comes to uniform, and sound the same as far as not like physically how they talk, but as far as the words that they use, common military language, right? And so it's a unique process because you got all this diverse pool of people, and you make them you basically form them into a great team, and they accomplish things together, and they're basically all able to live in harmony, right? And of course they get you into great shape. You do lots of push-ups, sit-ups, squats, etc., right? Myth busting, right? You do not have to be a great swimmer to join the Coast Guard. I joined the Coast Guard, could barely even swim. I swam just maybe like half the pool. It's basically like a 100-meter swim. And you don't have a time you got to do it in. But the one part that can be difficult for people is you do have to tread water for 5 minutes. So I was unable to do both of those, and no big deal. You go to remedial swim, which is a swim instructor, teaches you first thing in the morning, around like 5:30, and they basically show you how to swim and help you pass tests. And I did exactly what they told me, pushed through my fears, and got it done. And I graduated boot camp just like everyone else, And so when I went to boot camp, man, it was interesting. I was the only company where all 3 of my company commanders or drill sergeants all had English as their second language. So I had 2 guys from Puerto Rico and 1 guy from Venezuela. And it was interesting because they knew that a lot of people would misunderstand what they're saying at times. So they took advantage of it and used it to torture us. It was great. So they would say, like, when they would say, oh, it would sound like they're saying out, but they were really saying up. Or they would say, oh, and they meant out, but it'd be up, right? And they had this exercise. Oh, it was terrible. It's called up, down, in, out. And basically what it is you get an M1 Garand, a rifle, and it doesn't weigh that much, but after like minutes and hours, oh my gosh, you can barely pick that thing up. So they would basically have you grab the M1 Garand and push it up like you're doing a overhead press or military press, down, of course, right across in the middle of your chest. Then they have you push it out like you're doing a push-up, and then put it back in. And that's they go up, out, down, in, or up, down, out, in. Right, and man, they would torture you with that, and they'd put us in these like sweatshops, pretty much, where we had our coat on. And, because I went in February, y'all. It was freaking snowing, and it was crazy, because our boot camp is in Cape May, New Jersey, and it was snowing and all this crazy stuff, right? But they had us sweating like crazy, folks, man. And then they were like, all right, going back outside, But it was fun times. But my whole point to this thing right here, right, is the whole country can learn a lot from military boot camp when it comes to how to get people that are all on different pages, different walks of life, and get them on the same page to become a great team. And that's when I realized that in the military, you can truly be yourself, because nobody's judging you on who you are when you come in. They're judging you on who you are when you leave boot camp, and that's when you go to your first job, so per se. So the first time you're ever even judged as far as evaluated on whether you're a valuable member of the team is not till you go to school that teaches you how to do your job. And I'll touch on that next episode, but the country really needs to learn from this, man, because we got a bunch of people out here, right? We got a lot of intolerance and tolerance talk around the country, and it's frankly mind-blowing because, right, if I say what my opinion is and it's unpopular, then people will say that I'm intolerant. But then if I basically just tolerate it, right, then it's affecting me. I'm supposed to just swallow it and just deal with it. Now, that sounds pretty much like an oxymoron. That's a double standard. So, right, so what I've kind of learned is there's no such thing as true intolerance unless you're trying to make somebody or force them do something or hurt them because they're not want to do it, right? So I encourage people to have diverse conversations of controversial subjects from different aspects and encourage them to work through it together. Not possibly to come to an agreement, but to become to a mutual understanding. And what I mean by that, and mutual understanding, is you can come to a mutual understanding by understanding why that person feels and thinks the way that they do. That's the most and vital thing that you can get out of that conversation, is to find out why. For example, let's just give an example. I know everybody likes this one, right? Why did people vote for Trump? Why do people vote for Biden? Why do people vote for Obama? When it comes to politics, you ask them, right? And one thing that I learned, I'm speaking from a Christian view, right, is that we're called to love our neighbors like each other, right? And the Bible says, what person doesn't care for their own body and take care of it, right? So you're supposed to basically treat others the same way you treat yourself. Now, some people out there, maybe y'all got some bad habits and you don't treat yourself well. Well, this is encouraging. Step your game up. We'll talk about that in later episodes. But you take care of yourself. You make sure that you eat. You make sure that you shower. All that good stuff. Right? So you're supposed to treat other people the same way that you would treat yourself. Meaning you're supposed to take care of them the same way you take care of yourself, right? So you have the same amount of patience for them that you have for your inner self. So if somebody says something that you don't like, instead of just flipping off the handle and getting all highly emotional, which is very immature, by the way, is to basically just say, okay, well, tell me more. Explain why you feel that way, because, I don't want to assume, so please elaborate, right? And they'll explain to you why they feel the way they feel, why they voted for the person they voted for. But one thing that I've learned is, right, the United States, even our folks that are in poverty are 90% richer than the majority of the world, right? And the reason why a lot of folks in our country, of course, are in poverty or poor is because, one, this heavy focus on materialism. You're trying to keep up with the Jones, and you're just destined to fail if you keep on with that attitude or that approach, trying to keep up with other people and keep a facade of who you are, blah, blah, blah. Because in reality, nobody cares, and you're putting your family in debt or yourself in debt to look a certain way. But two, the main reason why we have these issues with poverty also is because we don't teach people how to properly manage their money, right? So you got 90% of the world that basically, compared to us, they're dead broke and poor, right? And my whole point with this, right, is in this country, we tend to vote based off our own selfish needs. And that does nobody good. That's why we keep on going in this circle of, we go through different ways where the economy be good, economy be bad, etc., right? I'm going to highly encourage everybody. It'd probably be in your best interest. Instead of just looking at somebody, I'm going to vote for this person because I like them or because I like their policies, truly look and see how they're going to affect the country, right? It's a really crappy situation when you already have it good in your life and other people's have it worse off than you, and you're voting for people that are going to make things even more worse off for the people that have it worse than you by their policies. Because policies, unfortunately, the way it works is they advantage some and they disadvantage others, right? So I'm gonna highly encourage everybody, right? But all about perspective, being of a diverse thought. That's why it's vital that we learn the thoughts of others and why they do what they do and how they're raised, etc., so you can understand and figure out a way to reach them, right? And you're not going to force anybody through violence. You're not going to make them believe what you believe through, persuasion, through arguments, etc. But you will give them something to chew on, for them to think on. And then, you know what? Maybe by chance, they'll be impacted by themselves. And then, boom, it'll hit home. And it'll be like, oh, you know what? I remember my boy Ian was talking to me about this a while back. Man, he's spot on, right? So that's the biggest thing I wanted to tell y'all about is, boot camp. Joining the Coast Guard. Boot camp is great. You're getting paid while you're going there. You got 3 meals a day, food, place to sleep. You're getting medical care. They take care of all your dental issues if you have any, all your medical issues, so they got you fixed up, man. And it's a great time. And you're really close with folks and you learn about different people. And man, it's a great time, man. But I encourage y'all, man, join the Coast Guard, bro. But, I'm going to make sure that I put information on the links here for the podcast on where you can go to find out more information. But join the Coast Guard. It's a great branch. It's the best branch of all because, 1, we're the smallest. 2, there's not one person that I have not met that knows somebody else that I know. That's how unique. But we're all over the globe. We're international. Not to mention travel, y'all. I've been everywhere, man. I got to go to all of Central America. I got to go to some place in South America. I got to go to the Caribbean. I got to go to Alaska. I got to go to Canada. Man, there's places that I'll go that half the people have never been to, man. And I'm telling you, it was just a great time, y'all. But love y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in to this podcast. Share it with everybody and look forward to sharing further opinions with y'all. And this is my perspective, and the next episode is going to be about A School, which is basically trade school where they teach you trade, I joined wanting to be an operations specialist. And I will share with you more about what that is. Y'all's call to action is to have one controversial conversation with somebody, let's say, you've been arguing with over the years, or somebody you don't get along with, or somebody you want to form a relationship. Your challenge is to go up to that person, talk to them about the thing that you disagree with them on, and ask them why they think the way they do, or why what led them to come up with that consensus, that understanding. Just listen to them, tell them your perspective, ask that person to, hey, do me a favor, go look this up, show them some supporting evidence or something that you want them to look up, and ask them to give you something to say. And y'all do it, and y'all try to myth butt each other, because I hate to say it, man, half the people out there, they believe what they believe, unfortunately, sometimes just based off of pure hype. They were raised to think that way. The rest of their friends think that way. And really what it comes down to is we got a lot of people out there. They're just scared to be individuals. They're scared to be different. And they're just more comfortable with following, and that's what it is. And because of that, if they don't change, they're destined to live some substandard life, right? And, so you basically talking about them, you can help them get to the next level, man. This is how we help each other grow, by stretching each other, I believe that comfort zones are meant for breaking, and I encourage y'all to go out there and break one. All right, y'all. Love y'all, and see y'all next time.